Hi, thanks for joining me. Today I'm going to do a pickups video. Um, it's been about 3 weeks, so it's that time, and I stuck to my budget pretty well. Again, the places where that broke down a little bit was in the pre-orders, and I'll mention what those are here. But I think this is a good amount of stuff. I'm actually going to throw in a couple games that I missed, one from my last video and one that would have been maybe a few videos before that. But moving forward here, I realized that my budget that I'm putting towards games, I've been putting towards that collection for a couple of years, and I have other stuff that I enjoy, like my anime collection, for instance, which I'm realizing, at this point now, there's more things that I want to add to that, really, than there is to, a lot of my retro game collections and stuff that I've really been focusing on. So you're going to see a shift in my pickups. I'm definitely not going to stop getting games. I have a handful of games. I'm going to actually leave them for the end of the video, so if that's all you want to see, skip to there. But you can go over some of the anime that I've picked up. Definitely a lot of nostalgic stuff that I wanted to just have again in my collection, things that I know I like, and a couple things that I'm trying out here for the first time. So let's get started. So the first one is AD Police. You guys might recognize this from Bubblegum Crisis, if you're familiar. The AD Police feature prominently in that series, and they call this a prequel to Bubblegum Crisis, but I don't know in what way it is, or even if it is at all a prequel. I can't imagine that these OAVs came out before Bubblegum Crisis did. That's possible. Also, chronologically, they may just be set previous to Bubblegum Crisis, but I don't know that either. But it's 3 OAVs, and one of the things that I think is really great about the 90s is, in the sort of the mid-80s to the mid-90s, I guess that whole period of time, is that cyberpunk science fiction. I think science fiction really changes as the years go by and technology changes. I don't think we're ever really going to get to go back to that time when cyberpunk seemed cool and kind of real and possible. It really engaged your imagination of like, oh, what would it be like to cybernetically alter our bodies and stuff. I mean, that's probably going to become even more relevant in the ensuing years here as that becomes even more feasible. So I don't know, maybe it'll be a resurgence or something. But anyway, these are fun. They're just little vignettes. They're not earth-shattering. I think the best one is probably The Man Who Bites His Tongue. From what I remember, just an interesting premise about this person that they basically are just fully cybernized, except their brain, obviously, but their tongue. That's sort of like the one bit of human sensation that they have left. So it's an interesting examination of what might that be like. Next up, I have Miyuki-chan in Wonderland. This is, just another one I remember from back in the day. By Clamp. You guys probably know them if you know anime and manga at all. A very famous female, I think it's a four-woman team of manga artists, mangaka. And, they do a lot of shoujo stuff. They did Vita and Magic Knight's Ray-Earth back in the day, and there's stuff, I guess I call it shoujo, but it spans. It kind of depends. I think they've done a mixture of things, because Ray-Earth itself, I'm not sure exactly where that was serialized in. I'm pretty sure Cardcaptor Sakura was in Nakayoshi, which is definitely a shoujo publication, but I think this was in New Type. So, different audience, different format than what they were, what they've done for a lot of other things. And it's just a really weird, interesting little one-off of theirs, where it's like this sort of Yuri kind of like sexualized portrayal of Alice in Wonderland. You know, not anything super explicit or anything like that, but just kind of playful and weird. It's just a very unique little short OAV from back in the day. I definitely have fond memories of checking that out, so I wanted to have that again. Next up is from one of my favorite series, Tenchi Muyo. And this is one that I've had a pet peeve about for a really long time. I might have mentioned this before, but this is the Mihoshi special. And I always considered it part of the initial series of Tenchi Muyo OAVs. I forget exactly how it is. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 OAVs in the first run, and then they did the Ryo-Ohki special, I believe, and then the Mihoshi special, in one of those orders. And you know, for years, like Pioneer or whomever is releasing the discs for this, like they haven't included the Mihoshi special in any sets. And I thought it was happening in the localization, but I think it might actually be coming from AIC, from the studio that was making this originally. And I don't have the names memorized or anything like that, but in looking this up, it seems like the person responsible for writing the initial Tenchi Muyo series wasn't involved in the Mihoshi special. It was something that somebody else on the staff came up with the story. It's kind of an aside, but there's nothing about it that I think can't exist alongside the rest of the sort of Tenchi Muyo canon. But I think that the impulse for like leaving this out of canon may come from the studio themselves, not from the publisher or any sort of part of the localization process. So I've kind of just come to accept that this is going to be standing on its own. It is the first appearance of the character Pretty Sammy, which is one of the characters from Tenchi Muyo ends up becoming a transforming magical girl a la Sailor Moon kind of a thing. And that, of course, spun off into its own OAV series. I believe it's 2 parts, which is on here. 2-part OAV. Or maybe a 3. I'm not sure. And then, of course, it was a whole TV series, which I also have, which is a lot of fun. So anyway, finally gotten around to getting the Mihoshi special. I guess continuing with the Tenchi Muyo, we have the movie collection. Pretty cool to see this come out in a little box set with a box here. This is actually just a DVD version and Blu-ray version, so basically the same thing twice. But it's 3 movies, and I had this back in the day. I think I had the first movie on one of those nice clamshell VHS cases, which I'm sure you guys all remember. And I was expecting to really enjoy this, going back to this the same way that I have some other things from the era, like, Cobra, even though I hadn't seen it back then. It's just so good and so nostalgic, just kind of watching that for the time period. But the Tenchi movie, I just started the first one, and I was like, oh, I was groaning a little bit. I don't know if it holds up that well. Definitely really strong influences from from Back to the Future. It's a very Back to the Future-y storyline with Tenchi and his parents, and it deals with sort of time paradoxes in the exact same way. And it also feels like they're really hitting you over the head right from the beginning with movie. This is a movie. It's like they got the chance to have a theatrical release, and they really wanted to accentuate its moviness, and I think that all kind of works against it. But I'm excited to watch the rest of it and just see what I think of it. And I don't know if I ever saw Tenchi Muyo in Love 2, the second movie. I know I saw Daughter of Darkness, but the last time I saw it was at an anime club in the 90s, so it's been a really long time. So I'm interested in revisiting those, definitely. Next up, something I've wanted to see for a really long time, Arcadia of My Youth. This is a Animego release, so no dub. It's really interesting. I see people, especially like the reviews for Cobra on Amazon, I just never even think of how important it is for some people to see the dub, that that it being localized into English sort of equates to it being dubbed, where I just sort of think of that as frosting on the cake. I can take or leave it. But anyway, so this is, it's not quite what I was in the mood for when I sat down to watch it, and it's not nearly as accessible as I was expecting. Something like Galaxy Express 39, and Adieu, I think was the second movie, they're really universal, they're really accessible. You don't need any special context, you don't need any special knowledge. I think you can just dive right into them. This, I can't really say that. I had to think about this for a couple days after I saw it to sort of go, okay, there was some really specific things in this, and I was a little confused as to what was the main character feeling that we were supposed to identify with. It's really obvious, I think, just thinking about it for a minute, but it took me a sec, and it's really about the occupation of Japan after the Second World War, and just sort of fact-checking a little bit about that, I think really reinforces that. Leiji Matsumoto, I think actually sort of came up with the character. This character kind of came from a story that he did when he was just 15. So we're talking a really young person, and that was really just shortly after the occupation ended. I think it was the Treaty of San Francisco, something like that, that was signed, and I'm not going to get the dates right on this probably, but I think it was 1951, 1952, sometime around in there. And I think it was about 6 years that Japan was under occupation by foreign powers, and I can't imagine what that felt like, and especially coming out of having just been in a wartime, and it's one of the things that it's easier to forget now, that I think it was hard to forget in the 90s, was that all of the creators, all of these people that were writing comics and were making animation and stuff, their lives were changed and touched so significantly by that whole wartime period, and an occupation of 6 years of your country. Massive changes in culture and everything. I can't imagine what that must have been like. So, with that context, I think this show makes a lot of sense, and it's a really interesting exploration of just the, I guess, probably Leiji Matsumoto's feelings around that, just sort of sorting out how do you reconcile this. He's basically, Harlock is coming back to this occupied Earth. It's occupied by space aliens, and humanity is basically accepting this foreign rule, and Harlock really needs to come to terms with how do his ideals fit in with with a humanity that is kind of is broken and is accepting of its fate, and it's a really interesting thing to watch and think about. At one point the characters are literally disarmed. There was a disarming that happened in Japan, and even still it's very kind of non-militaristic. But I think you really have to have some context to appreciate this, that I was not necessarily expecting. So it wasn't necessarily good in the way that I was expecting and hoping, but definitely it is good, and definitely something with a lot of stuff to think about, I guess. And now, so one of my other pre-orders here was just the second volume of Cobra. I haven't watched this yet, but you guys might remember I did a impressions video, very fun. Not nearly as hard to approach or with as much to think about as Arcadia of My Youth. Just a much more entertaining show that I think stands up extremely well. Now on to my games. I'm just going to show off a couple of things quickly that would have been in previous videos, actually. I don't think I mentioned that I got Trigger Happy Havoc Danganronpa. I pre-ordered this, so it just, Nipponichi, like, they're kind of late sending their stuff out sometimes, and this one just, I think, went under the radar for me to actually put it on one of my pickups. I haven't played it, but I'm excited to check it out. I keep hearing good things about it. I also picked up Samurai Showdown Anthology for the PlayStation 2. I think I forgot to show this off in my last video. I've had Samurai Showdown on the brain ever since I did my Japanese Dreamcast pickups the last video, and I got that RPG on the Saturn. I was thinking, is there some sort of good collection of the arcade games out there? And there is. This looks excellent. It's got like six games, starting from 1 all the way up to 6 on the arcades. So, fighting games are not necessarily my forte, but I'm realizing I loved them as a kid, and Samurai Showdown, I don't think you can really go wrong with that. Next is 2 more pre-orders. This is Demon Gaze. I think I did that with Dragon's Age too. It's actually Dragon Age. So Demon Gaze. Crack Lotus showed this off. This is the special edition. Not a whole lot to it as far as special editions go, but you get the game. You get a soundtrack CD. Mine unfortunately has a little bit of a crease in it. It's not a hard crease, it's sort of a soft crease, but I was a little disappointed in that, but it's not a big deal. And then you get this little Mercenary Guide to Mistrid. So, just a pretty standard special edition, but it wasn't too much more than the regular one, and if I was pre-ordering it anyway, I was like, I might as well go ahead and get that one. Haven't even checked it out, but I'm kind of hoping that I might get back into dungeon crawlers again. It's been a long time since I've played one, I guess, except for Phantasy Star, the first game I played not so long ago. But definitely interested to check that out. And last but not least, I've been waiting for this one for a long time. Steins Gate on the PC. So excited about this. I will admit I haven't been playing this. I've been watching a stream on YouTube. Phantom Zwei, I believe, has been streaming it on Twitch and posting it on YouTube. I've been watching the YouTube videos, and it's so good. The anime for this is good. It's just such a good story, and the characters are so cool. You guys know I have Hyoku Ranu no Darling, the Steins Gate game, which, I haven't finished any of the routes or beaten that. But just no way that I was going to miss out on the, physical edition of the special edition release of the localization of that. So we get an official fan book, and I don't know what kind of stuff is in here. It says, warning, there are spoilers. Well, whatever. So there's like a message from the president of Mages, which is 5 PB character profiles on everybody. This is cool. There's like a points of interest map for Akiba. Oh, that's pretty cool. And then there's like world line information. There's like relationship chart, chronology of events. That's neat. That's pretty cool. There's a little like actual manual. And, then, as far as the special edition goes, this one's a little bare bones, too. We've got the game disc in just a regular jewel case. But I like this extra with the special edition. This is sort of obviously the main feature of it. If I can get it out of the box. We have these pins that are featured in the game. If you've watched the show or played the game at all, you'll probably recognize these. So, like a physical extra of merchandise kind of that relates to the in-game world. I think that's really the best kind of extra that you can get. So just a cool little thing that comes with the special edition there. So that's it. That's my game and anime pickups for the month of April, I suppose. So thank you for joining me. I hope that this was fun, and I hope you'll join me again for more video game and anime related videos. Thanks for watching.